Innovators, welcome back to the channel. When you're embarking on the journey of trying something new, launching a new product or service, it can be hard to measure how well your new experiment is doing. We are often tempted to bring out what Eric Ries calls vanity metrics, picking and choosing something that shows an impressive number, giving you the false illusion that you're actually doing great. On the other hand, you might be forced to use more classical revenue projections that give you the impression that your new idea is going nowhere and your management is going to kill off a potentially great idea. Well, today we're going to take a look at some metrics that might be a great help in this situation. Okay, so you've gotten 10% of your time to do innovation, or you've started a new venture of your own. Having read all modern entrepreneurship advice, you wisely skipped preparing copious amounts of PowerPoint slides and building Excel models, and you have started out with experimentation. How do you navigate these rough seas? Where are the stars to rely on? In practice, it's a balance of numbers and impressions, hard facts and intuition. When at sea, this might be a bad analogy, but pirates can actually be a great help. Today we're going to take a look at pirate metrics. The framework was cooked up by entrepreneur and investor Dave McClure. The letters he had to turn into some sort of a great acronym were AARRR, so that's why he came up with pirates. He states that when you want to measure true startup potential, you want to check acquisition, activation, retention, revenue, and referral. Let's see how that breaks down. The first A is for acquisition. How well do you acquire potential customers? From social media to blogs to email campaigns to word of mouth. How well do you attract potential customers to your new product or service? You can look at the amount of people that are coming to your page or service, but the amount of people that are willing to spend some time there is also an important indication. This gives you an impression of the initial interest there is in the problem you're trying to solve. If they come, something must bring them there. The second metric is activation. This is actually the first hurdle that people need to take. It means they are willing to invest time and effort to join your product or service. You can look at the amount of signups, the conversion of acquisition to activation, but also whether these people are using your key features at least once. This is a great place to do some A/B testing as well. You can experiment with what kind of copy, layout and potential pricing structure will appeal to your customers. Moving on to retention, I think one of the most important metrics of all, because even if acquisition and activation are at stellar levels, this is the one telling you if you're on the right track, because even the most viral spread will diminish one day if retention is low. Do people keep coming back? If this is subpar, this is the time to start finding out individual stories. Interview people. Try to entice them to do a quick chat and see what you can find out about the problem they are trying to solve and the way you are not quite solving it. You can promise them a small perk, but you can also appeal to their general willingness to help. After all, they are having a problem that you are trying to solve for them. Revenue is next. This is actually not as important in the experimentation phase, but it's a great test of buy-in with your customers. Putting your money where your mouth is a great indication of whether the problem you're trying to solve for them is a real pain point. If you see conversion to paying behind or at stellar levels, this might be a good time to interview as well. For instance, Would they want your product if it were a bit cheaper? Or would they be willing to pay some more if that was able to save your business and the solution they're getting? How bad do they want to solve their problem? What role does it have in their lives? And finally, there is referral, an indication of the enthusiasm people have for your solution. This can be anything from a net promoter score to the use of referral links or the messages they post on Twitter. The mouth speaks what the heart is full of. If people are raving about your product or elements of it, this is a great indication of true potential. All of these tell a story of potential, which is extremely useful in this phase. I know bathtubs come up every second video or so, but try to take a look at your project as being sort of a bathtub. Even if the faucet is wide open, but the plug is out, there's nothing happening. And if the plug is in, even if there's only a slight trickle, you will end up with a nice, hot, filled bath. While classic KPIs are all about measuring the end result, pirate metrics are all action-oriented. They're designed to help you tweak your product or service, getting better at it. And remember, numbers only tell one part of the story. Big data is not the be-all, end-all. Talk to people. If they are reaching out, this is an opportunity to learn, not to sell. And you can use this pirate metrics framework not just for numbers, but also for structuring interviews. You can use this framework for your next business endeavor, but really for any project you're doing within your company or your community. People might not pay with real money, but with their effort and their time, but the learnings remain the same. If all of those metrics are consistently not great, it might be time to pivot. And that's where all the listening comes in. Because pivoting is not about abandoning ship, it's about changing course. It's about keeping what works and removing and changing what doesn't work. If not for yourself, you can use these metrics to prove viability, even if the classic KPIs are not immediately impressive. To your boss, your company, or other stakeholders. Too many great ideas are abandoned because they don't have impressive forecasts backing them up. Intuit founder Scott Cook uses a variant of these metrics called love metrics, and he calls them the best indicator of great innovation because it tells you if what you're building stands a chance of becoming a meaningful part of people's lives. And that is often where great business successes start. I'll see you next time.